Well, here's something a bit different. These were sold, I think, by Woolworths in the late 70s and very early 80s. And to look at it, you'd think it was an English or possibly an American make because it's called a Harwood Stereo Mark III. And you could see there, and you've got controls for the balance, bass, treble, volume. Nice little queuing lever there, which is actually damped, which is quite nice. Tracking force can be adjusted here on this little knurled knob. It's a spring-loaded thing, but still, it's better than quite a few offerings had at the time, where you just had one setting and that was it, and you liked it, or rather, your records didn't necessarily. But this hides a bit of a secret. This Harwood, seemingly a sort of English or American name, Anglo-American, is nothing of the sort. People in what is now Eastern Europe tell me that this is in fact a Unitra Arta record player, and this is borne out by a label on the back which says made in Poland. On the back too you've got the two speaker jacks, two pinned in, and the almost inevitable five pinned in for recording from the deck on. So there we are, it's a Unitra Arta built for export, I'm reliably told. And they even made it in this funky colour out there too. So yeah, now the only fault with this was that there was quite a hum, because the original Elwa capacitors in the power supply had begun to fail. So I've replaced those with two new equivalents, and strangely enough it shows you how things have become smaller down the years, how they can make things so small now, because the replacements, although they were the same value and voltage and everything, were only about half the size of the ones that came out. This could of course be due to some of the materials that the old Iron Curtain countries had to use as well. But that was easy enough to sort out, but what wasn't so easy to sort out was, alas, the pickup cartridge. Now it's a ceramic cartridge, a lot of these sets like this were. And it must have been made, I don't know, probably by Unitra or Fonitran maybe, but one thing I was absolutely sure of, having tried all over the place, I couldn't get the stylus for it, and it hadn't got a stylus in it, so I couldn't even take it along and compare them. Ah dear, so what do you do with that? Well, thoughts turned to using another cartridge, naturally enough, and I tried a BSR SC12H, and sort they used to use in music centres and radiograms, that sort of thing. But it was a wee bit too loud for it, had too high an output. So what I've done is to take a cartridge I got out of a Sound Design record player, one of those ones that had the last of the line BSR deck. They were truly dreadful, driven by a little DC servo motor, and you could never get them to run right because the speed selector switch wasn't really a proper switch. It was just a wiper arm that touched one or other part of the circuit board. I know, you can't believe it, can you? But such was life during BSR's last gasp. It was a shame to see them go like that. But the cartridge out of that appears to have done the trick, and of course it's solved the stylus problem too, which is a good thing. Make it a lot easier to find another one. Now, this record player should switch itself off when it gets to the middle, like many old Philips ones did. Just shut the motor off. It doesn't return the arm to the armrest, and never has. And to switch it off, there was an ingenious optoelectric system inside, but that has stopped working. The good news, however, is though that instead of pressing start, which does nothing at all now, select the speed 33 or 45 and then simply press the power on, and as you can see, away we go. we are, all sounding rather nice. The speakers, I think, made by the old Iron Curtain firm Tonsil, which sounds extraordinary, isn't it? What a name for a manufacturer of speakers. But yeah, they did make some good stuff, and it's surprising because a lot of people said that, oh, it's come from bloody Poland or behind the Iron Curtain, it can't possibly be any good, it'll be a load of old rubbish. But I have to say this, nearly every example I've found has been pretty good. Some of them, they suffer from material problems. You know, they couldn't perhaps get the best sort of material to do the job. And that was one problem that used to come to light with the Grundig cassette recorder clones that had the funny controls on top. It was a carbon copy of a 60s Grundig design, but some of the plastic gears used to give problems. But this one, well, you can't fault it. It's in remarkably good cosmetic condition. Whoever had it has obviously really looked after it. It may be that it hasn't been used in, oh, Lord knows how long, because of course they couldn't get the stylus. Anyway, see you soon.